Okay, so that's the end of it. Breaking news: India's Pragg, who gave a valiant fight, a great effort to reach the final of a World Cup, but he was up against, as we've often said, arguably the greatest chess player of all time in Magnus Carlsen. Remember, their two classical chess games ended in a stalemate, both were draws, and from there you've had a situation where it came down to the rapid fire. You were going to have two rapid fires, 25 minutes apiece, and as expected, Carlsen was on fire in game number 1 of that rapid fire, winning it. And I think in game 2 he was on the verge of winning it, but I think they shook hands where then it will be considered a draw.
Yeah.
In which case Carlsen, because in that second rapid fire Pragg had no option but to win it, to then take it to the 10-minute rapid fire. That wasn't the case. The first rapid fire Carlsen won, and then he could be defensive in the next one. But he was not defensive, he was aggressive, he would have won it.
Yeah.
The game was going towards a 2-0 win for Carlsen, at which point Pragg realized that there was no way out for him.
Yep.
He was in a situation where he could not make a comeback, and so he offered a handshake, which is, asking for a draw, and then if the opponent shakes your hand, that means he agrees for a draw. Yeah. And Carlsen had no problem doing it, because that would mean that he would be the winner of the World Cup. Breakdown, Siddharth Vishwanathan, our in-house chess expert, is going to break it down for us.
I am now suddenly feeling so drained, because
you are feeling drained looking at this. Imagine that poor guy who's been playing.
I feel for Pragg, because imagine out of a field of 128, okay, you are playing 26 grueling days of chess, okay. From 128, you have played 3 tiebreakers. That too, the entire gambit. In 3 days, you're basically playing a test match, an ODI, a T20I, and then you're playing couple of super overs also. Imagine the toll that takes on your body. I mean, I remember once when Vishwanathan Anand played the entire tournament, he had lost about 15 to 20 kilos. That is the amount of stress that chess can take on you. And poor Pragg, I mean, look at it. World number 3 beat him through tiebreakers. World number 2 beat him through tiebreakers. That is why you felt. And with 5 wins against Carlsen in the rapid format, you felt that perhaps he could win it. But when game 1 in the rapids, when Pragg blundered with that knight f6 move, because he didn't know who to attack, at that time Carlsen just capitalized with his knights and rooks and won the first game and put Pragg under immense pressure, turning the tables. Literally, he turned the tables in game 1. Game 2, buoyed by the fact that, I have managed to get out of jail in game 1. I'll just go for my natural Magnus Carlsen mode. Decimate the opponent, exchange quick queens, and having been a pawn up, he knew it. The World Cup is his, and just like Messi completes total football, he completes total chess.
See, going into this rapid fire final, there was hope, and I think there was genuine hope that Pragg could do it. Few reasons behind that. In this year itself, Pragg had beaten Magnus Carlsen 3 times, so that was one thing that was going in his favor. Other than that, if you take a look at in terms of just performances of Pragg is in this particular tournament. So one thing that you did notice with Pragg in just this tournament, that was that he had won 3 tiebreakers, and he had beaten world number 2 and world number 3. Nakamura was world number 3, then Karuna, who was world number 2, in rapid fire, and he had beaten his good friend Arjun as well in rapid fire. So he had that experience in this tournament in rapid fire. So you had hope that he had all of that, going into this final. So you thought it will win, but then it's not without reason that you call Carlsen, the GOAT, greatest of all time, because he is so good in such situation. And rapid fire, his Elo rating, we kept saying, is in a different class. And we said, let's not look at ratings. But today he showed that there is a big gulf between the two. It's not about the result, but the performance on the chessboard.
There is also a reason why Magnus Carlsen is a 4-time rapid, and also he is a blitz champion as well. Because On the bigger occasions,
कहाँ
he
से?
manages to ensure that he is the number one
हाँ जी,
player.
हाँ जी.
And not just any kind of chess.
बोले,
I mean,
बोले.
you look at it in classical, you look at it in rapid, you look at it in blitz. What are the three most important situations?
कितनी देर में?
Then you have the opening, which is the first thing. You have the middle game.
हाँ जी, phone कर.
And then you have the end game.
Okay.
In all three aspects and in all three formats of chess, Magnus Carlsen is an absolute beast in that. That's why very few opponents have had success against him. Consider this one fact. In the entire history of the chess championships for 10 years, he lost only one game, and that was to Vishwanathan Anand. Apart from that, be it in classical, be it in rapid, he has been simply sensational, and that is why, oh boy, I mean, I really struggle to understand how can you beat this man? How can you beat?
But you know, a lot of folks who are joining us would not know that for Carlsen also this is very important. You know, he's now a veteran of sort, just 31 years of age, but veteran of sort on the circuit. But he himself had never won the World Cup before.
Yeah.
So for him also, it was an important tournament that he'd want to win. He never needed to play it because he was always the world champion, and most players play this so that they can get to play the candidates, and from then candidate get a chance to challenge the world champion. And Carlsen was always the world champion, so did have to play it as such, which is why the one time that he did play, he finished third, so never won it. So for him also personally, it was a big thing to win. So even he was under pressure. The other thing is, more often than not, we look at the candidates or we look at the world championship contest, that's one-on-one, 2 players going against each other, or the candidates where 10 players are going against each other.
8 players.
But why this is, 8 players are going in a round robin format. But why this is really important is the fact that you had 128 players, 128 players playing, and to emerge the winner from there. This tells you how tough this tournament is. So in that sense, you know, even for Carlsen, it's a big tick mark in his resume.
Mark. Yeah, I mean, see, he's dominated the world championships, he's dominated the world rapids, he's dominated the world blitz. Now he's won the World Cup. Anything that has to do with the world, Carlsen has dominated, and now he's achieved total chess, just like how Messi's achieved total football. There is nothing left for Magnus Carlsen to prove, and this at the age of 31. Just 31, and remember, he became the world champion at the age of 21, which showed what a talent he is. But let us break down Pragg's journey in this chess World Cup, because you knew that he got a bye in the first round, but then he had to face a lot of different opponents who had that uncertainty factor. Remember, Vishwanathan Anand in this new format also struggled, by the way. He lost out to a lot of lesser known grandmasters. In the second round, on the third rounds, he faced Wang Hao, a Chinese grandmaster with a certain level of pedigree. Then you had Ferenc Beskes of Hungary, whom he had to really struggle and do well against. Then came Nakamura, and then after that, the real challenge began. And you would remember, Nikhil, that you did an interview with Coach Ramesh.
Yes.
He mentioned that he had planned only until Nakamura.
Yes.
After that, everything was a lottery. So that is why he won that lottery in a big way. So, but the game that took the most out of Pragnananda was Erigaisi. That clash against Arjun Erigaisi, both games, they bounced back. And you know what was the most important thing? They were winning with black pieces. But as I had mentioned in that Erigaisi game, Pragg made a lot of blunders, and a better opponent could have actually managed to capitalize on it, which Magnus Carlsen did today. The blunder in game 1, where knight f3 should have happened, just didn't happen. And that is why the flanks that came, rook and the knight assault that Pragnananda had to face. Unfortunately, at this point now, it is a really big situation. And now, game 2, simple, piece of cake. I won it. And in typical fashion, a 90% fit Magnus Carlsen managed to win the Chess World Cup. Because remember, from day 1, he was suffering from food poisoning. So to win out of that, and that too coming back from the brink. Remember, he was in a must-win situation against 17-year-old Vincent Kemmer of Germany. He somehow bounced back, and bravo, he's in the final and he's won it. That's the situation that is there. Not one chess 960 Akarsena, but chess 960 Akarsena, I mean, see, it is a good tournament. It's an elite tournament, just like the Swiss Open. But again, chess 960, unfortunately, not many players would want to play it. And Carlsen had no reason to play it because he was the world champion. So, well, we now know that, okay, 3 players from the Chess World Cup will go through to the candidates. Now remember, Pragnananda, we should celebrate this achievement also, that he's reached the final. We should celebrate the broader picture. Okay, he lost the Chess World Cup final, no problem. No problem at all, because he sealed his place in the candidates and has become only the second Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to reach this territory. And that's why it's a matter of celebration for India. We should celebrate the larger picture. Let's not celebrate this loss. Oh, he's been beaten.
But
by
just
Carlsen.
so that, folks who do not follow chess, just to break it down, candidates then will have the 8 best players playing against each other in a round robin, and the winner there then gets to play against Ding Liren, the Chinese world champion right now, against him to challenge him for the world title. In all of this, if you're wondering where is Magnus Carlsen, well, he's refused to play the candidates, saying that he does not like the format. So he's, not going to be playing.
The likes of Pragnananda, the likes of Fabiano Caruana and Nijat Abaso have already qualified for the candidates, because now only 4 slots are remaining in the candidates. One, Jan Nepomniachtchi, because he lost in the final in the previous cycle, he's already secured qualification for the candidates. So you just have 4 slots, and you have to be glad that one Indian is among them, and that is Ramesh Babu Pragnananda, the 3rd youngest to play in the candidates after Bobby Fischer and Magnus Carlsen. These are not 2 spring chickens, they are the greatest chess players that are there.
So much to be proud of. If you're an Indian sport fan, it's a day to celebrate. Yes, all of us would have wanted a victory here. All of us would have wanted that Pragnananda becomes only the 2nd Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to win this title. But he was up against a very experienced, formidable opponent in Magnus Carlsen, and today Carlsen really showed, as Siddharth was pointing out, he wasn't really well the first 2 days while the conventional, chess game happened. But after that, in rapid fire, which is his go-to sort of a format, even Blitz, if it had to go there, he really showed, who really the boss is. So much to be proud of and much to look forward to, for the future, I think.
Exactly. I mean, see, the future of Indian chess, as Vishwanathan Anand had given an interview to Nikhil Nand on Sports Today, he said, this is a golden generation. Just look at the performance of these 4 youngsters who have been there, okay? 17-year-old Gukesh, then you had 18-year-old Pragnananda, 20-year-old Arjun Erigaisi, and then you had 26-year-old Vidit Gujarati. You had 4 Indians. You had 4 Indians in the quarterfinal. Out of that, one made it to the semi-final. You are all wondering, okay, can Pragnananda beat Fabiano Caruana? Because then all the debate would have ended. All the debate would have ended whether he should play the candidates or not. But then at this point, if you look at it, he had to play the candidates because he performed brilliantly against Fabiano Caruana. See, the door is not yet closed for Gukesh. Gukesh can still qualify for the candidates if he goes through the Swiss Open. That tournament will begin at the Isle of Man, but yet again, every single individual will be playing there, all the top players. So, in that way, Gukesh, Erigaisi, Pragnananda, Vidit, all these 4 players have ensured that India's generation of chess players is really on a high. And hey, why do we tend to forget that? Forget 2023, okay? Look at what happened in 2020 rather. It was the same players, the same group of players who managed to get India the Chess Olympic gold medal. First time in 96 years that India had gotten the Chess Olympiad gold medal along with Russia. Yes, it was shared with Russia because 2 games unfortunately were interrupted by technical issues. So that's why 2020 the Chess Olympic gold medal was given by India. It was these players, the likes of the women, if you look at it, Harika Dronavalli, Koneru Hampi, Vaishali also, Ramesh Babu Pragnananda's sister. They all played a big role in it, and so that is why it's a massive feeling indeed. And KD Rajput saying, what's the prize money? Well, you get 80,000 euros as the runner-up. As the winner, you would have gotten 110,000 euros. That was your prize money if you had won the Chess World Cup. Pragnananda will get about close to 75 to 80,000 euros for that. So that is the current situation. Abhay Pratap Singh, yesterday Magnus was playing rapid. But Abhay Pratap Singh, let me tell you one thing. It wasn't rapid play as such, because I'll tell you for one simple reason. They were playing conventional chess in a quick way because remember, Pragnananda was really tired after those rapid tiebreakers with Fabiano Caruana and on the previous game with Arjun Erigaisi. Magnus Carlsen, on the other hand, he didn't have to go through the tiebreakers. He just had to win. And that is why he put on a dominant display towards the fag end. And that is why he had to play fast because he was suffering from food poisoning. He wasn't 100%, but still he got it.
So just to let you know, KD Rajput is saying what is the prize money. Had Pragyananda won the match today, he would have just the winner. So the prize money is a lot more of the entire tournament. Just the winner gets 1,10,000 US dollars, which is roughly around a crore Indian rupees. So that is what Pragyananda would have won had he won. But yet he is finished second, so he will get a big enough prize money, 80,000 USD.
80,000
yeah.
USD.
So 80,000 USD is the prize money for the second place finish, which also Pragg is going to win. But I mean, yes, prize money is important and all of it, but I'm guessing, you know, the honor of being winner of a World Cup would have been something else. But as I said, he's just 18. I'm sure he'll have more opportunities in the future.
I was just explaining that why there was a reason why Vishwanathan Anand called this generation the golden generation, that interview that you did.
Yes, that interview is up on Sports Today. Do check it out.
Yep.
By Vishwanathan Anand, where he's spoken about what a great future is there for Indian chess, Indian sport per se, because we keep talking about Pragyananda. There is also Arjun Erigaisi, one of his very good friends.
At the age of 20.
At
Yes.
Gukesh,
who's 17.
Who's beaten Anand's Elo rating.
He's your first India #1 after Vishwanathan Anand dominated for 37 years.
Poof.
37 years Vishwanathan Anand was the #1. And Gukesh, in this chess World Cup, he's your new #1. You could see the illustration. Anand from behind is crowning Gukesh as the new king of chess in India.
Yep.
And remember, Vidit Gujarati is the oldest among the lot with 26. Imagine that, at 26 to 17, the amount of talent that is there in the Indian chess system is staggering. 82 grandmasters. And let's refresh public memory. In 2020, India with the same pool of players won the chess Olympiad gold. In 2020, along with Russia, they shared the gold medal because there were technical issues. Had that technical issues not been there, we would have been the undisputed gold medal winner. So, this chess generation, you have to be mighty proud of. 4 Indians making it to the quarterfinals, dominating in that. I mean, imagine, out of 128 people, 8 people have made it. Half of them are Indians.
So, since King D wants us to explain it in cricketing terms, let me try and explain it to you in cricketing terms. What you had today was a rapid fire. In cricketing terms, that would be a bowl out. So effectively had a bowl out today after, or a super over you could call it. It was a super over that you had today. Bowl out would have been had it gone to blitz.
Blitz, yes.
So blitz they didn't go to, but they went to a super over today because the regular match, that is the 2 conventional games that they played.
Those matches ended in a draw.
Those 2 matches ended in a draw. So in cricketing terms, I'm trying to explain. Now in cricketing terms, the other thing he said about what is this generation, golden generation. In cricketing terms, you could say this is that generation of Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid, VVS Lakshman, Anil Kumble, Virender Sehwag, you know. So that sort of a generation coming together, that's happening at the chess level as well. And when I'm talking about that generation, I'm adding a Yuvraj Singh and MS Dhoni also because they played alongside them.
Exactly.
So that generation that you had, that's the kind of generation you are seeing in chess coming up. Youngsters could be that generation. Another cricketing parallel, just to let you know what Magnus Carlsen is, I call him the Don Bradman of chess. I'm not bringing in Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Ricky Ponting, Brian Lara and all, because there are always debates who's better, this and that. But when it comes to cricket, if there's one player you never debate about, that is Sir Don. Right, because he's that far ahead of everyone else at an average of 99.94 in test cricket. So he's so far ahead. So that is what Carlsen is in terms of chess. That's how far ahead he is of everyone. We were just talking about Elo rating points, where you know his Elo rating points compared to Pragyananda who was playing against him. What would it be in terms of, let's say, T20 cricket? Carlsen's ELO rating?
So Carlsen's ELO is like, if you want to look at T20 average and strike rate, after playing 100 T20Is by the way, His average is 100 plus with a strike rate of 200 plus.
T20 average of 100
And a strike
rate of 200.
Yeah.
That's what his.
That's his blitz and rapid rating is.
Wow. That's how good
That's how good he is.
Magnus Carlsen is.
Next level. 4-time champion. And he never, he suffered only one test loss, if you have to look at it, in his world championship team. Only one loss in 10 years. That's how dominant he is. He is an institution in his own right, Magnus Carlsen. And of course, his success has not inspired that much of success in Norway. There's only one grandmaster who's come through, that's Aryan Tari. But Vishy's success is even more path-breaking, because from 1988 till now, 88 he was the first, now there are 82. So impact-wise, Vishy is in a different level altogether. And Sharan Venagota, which age did Vishwanath Anand become the world champion? He became at the age of 31 when he won it in 2000.
But just to let you know, we'll take a few questions. We'll carry on with our live for some time now.
Yep.
Take a few questions. Just to let you know, Vishwanathan Anand has won this World Cup twice. Tell us, what it was like 1991.
Yep. Okay. So this is the scenario. Like, why do the likes of Pragnananda, Vidit Gujarati, Harika Dronavalli, all of them, why do they own up to Vishwanathan Anand in a big way? I'll tell you why. Prior to Anand's arrival, India actually was considered to be the land of chess invention. That's why chess was born right here in the north of India. Chaturangam, you want to call it, Shatranj, you want to call it. To have no grandmaster from India in a sport that was invented by us, it really was galling. There was 4 IMs who made it. The highest among them was Manuel Aron from Chennai. He was one of the best chess players at that time in the 60s, 70s and the 80s. Now, when Vishwanathan Anand came and became the first grandmaster from India, he then managed to become, he changed India's landscape totally. Okay, 1988, first GM of India. He was India's number 1 from that period onwards. Then 1991 happened, and this is the starting point of Vishwanathan Anand, the greatest of all time. The greatest. Why? Because Vishwanathan Anand in 1991, he played a tournament in Reggio Emilia that had most of the top Soviet players at that time. There was also in the same tournament Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov, 2 Soviet giants who dominated in the mid-70s and in the 80s. Vishwanathan Anand not only beat Kasparov, and he also managed to get on top of Karpov, he won the Reggio Emilia tournament ahead of them. Then subsequent tournament in Tilburg, he beat Karpov. So 1991 was your ultimate defining moment when it came to chess in India. It gave the belief to the world that, okay, if somebody can probably challenge the Soviets, maybe we can. And it instilled that belief. And Anand soon became India's first challenger to Garry Kasparov in 1995. But you all knew that Kasparov resorted to some underhanded tactics in game number 9 that saw Anand lose concentration. That's why the tournament ended. Then if you look at it, FIDE tried its damnedest to ensure Anand could never get on top, because in 1997 and 98, there was a tournament to challenge Anatoly Karpov for the World Championships that was held in Groningen. Now in Groningen, Anand had to play 30 games over a period of 1 month. Now everybody was asking me in the comments about, 30 games, how does it matter? Can the Indian cricket team play 30 ODIs in 1 month? No. That is what Anand had to undergo. He played classical games, round robin formats in the tournament structures, and then he managed to come out on top. But then 4 to 5 days later, he had to come to Lausanne to win against Anatoly Karpov. Somehow, to his mental strength and fortitude, Anand managed to hold the classical games, but he lost in the 2 tiebreakers. So Pragnananda's loss today kind of reminds me of Anand's loss to Karpov in 1998. But look at what Karpov did after that, which I think many people lost respect for. He said, Vishwanathan Anand does not have the big game temperament. He can't do well. Imagine, Karpov knew of the situation. He just had to come to the tournament fresh without having played a game. He was prepared. Anand had played 30 games in the space of 1 month, and then you play him And that's what Anand said. I was brought to Lausanne in a coffin and Capo just took advantage of it. Then the split happened in FIDE because Kasparov went to the Professional Chess Association, and there was FIDE. Anand won the first championship in 2000. 2000, at the age of 31, finally India had waved the flag high in the chess summit. But many detractors still said, oh, no way. Anand can't be the champion because FIDE and Kasparov and all the other major players are playing in a different tournament. That schism denied Vishwanathan Anand legitimacy for 7 years. Then after that, what happened? When FIDE unified, there was the first championship held in Mexico City. 2007, Anand won it and he achieved a double. He not only became the world champion for the second time, he crossed the 2800 ELO rating. At that time, it became 2811. That was his peak which Anand got. Then 2008, Anand defeated Kramnik. 2010, despite the Bulgarian Defense Department loaning Vasilin Topalov a supercomputer to prepare for the moves, and Anand having to encounter the volcano in Iceland, he still won the title. 2012, he beat Gelfand, but Carlsen was a different beast altogether. But Anand's success ensured that the likes of Pragnananda and all had the license to dream. And that is why Pragnananda is one of the best amongst the lot that is there in the world of chess at this time. So Akash Bharadwaj saying, who do you think can beat Magnus? Maybe Hikaru Nakamura? No, Akash. Nakamura has tried, Caruana has tried, Karyakin has tried, everybody's tried. Magnus, it needs something special to beat Magnus Carlsen. Then King D is asking me, Nikhil RK, is Vishy also the greatest of all time? Nikhil RK, I would say that Vishwanathan Anand is the greatest ever Indian sportsman. Yes, Vishwanathan Anand is the greatest sportsman India has ever produced. I will go as far to say as even other greats of the game. Vishwanathan Anand is the greatest sportsman India has ever produced. So for Pragnananda, Sharan Vinakoda, so Pragna, there is still chance to be a Magnus Carlsen. Definitely, Sharan. I mean, not everybody can be like Vishy or like Pragnana or like Magnus Carlsen. But remember, he's got age on the side. And Carlsen won the world title at the age of 21. 2-3 years later with the kind of performance, maybe in the candidates, if Pragnananda has a great chance. And if he beats Ding Lijian later on, maybe you can see a world champion immediately at the age of 19 also. Why not? But this is why Pragnananda has been one of the greatest has assumed his title to be one of the best in the business at this point. Beating the world number 3, beating the world number 2, and also if you look at it, beating the world number 1, it would have been the ultimate fairy tale. But unfortunately, that did not happen. And that's why Magnus Carlsen, I would have to say like he's a different beast. Akash Bharadwaj, maybe Magnus is Djokovic and Vishy is Nadal. No, Akash, no. At least in the case of Djokovic and Nadal, the rivalry was intense as a head-to-head record was close. When it comes to Anand and Carlsen, Carlsen's way ahead. Carlsen's way ahead in the head-to-head. And he never got Anand back in the game. And that's why Carlsen, I think the record, if you may say, Magnus is Nadal, Vishy was Federer. Maybe you can equate it in that way. Akash Bharadwaj, Magnus is Nadal, Vishy is Federer. That would have been the thing. I will say Dhyan Chand is the greatest. KD Rajput Singh. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if we have to look at who set about the first ever, you may say, put India on the world map when it came to sports, I would say Dhyan Chand. Any day. From 1928 onwards, 3 gold medals. So impressive was his hockey skills that, boy, everybody was mesmerized. And we are also mesmerized by the brilliance of Magnus Carlsen and Pragnananda. And this has been a great journey for Pragnananda. Let us not make any doubts about that. It's been a great journey. And one should not get disappointed. I mean, yes, a loss will hurt. Imagine at this time today, if he would have won, 6:04 p.m. Chandrayaan had achieved success. They had landed on the moon. Maybe now at 5:42, maybe Pragnananda had drawn. He was playing the 10-minute rapid tiebreakers. He could have won it at 6-4. We would have had a chess World Cup winner from India. But unfortunately, that isn't the case at this point. I said because Vishy is the only one who beat Magnus once. Akash, yeah, but only once. Exactly. Only once. That was the thing. Wish Pragg all the best for the future and beat Carlsen. We Indians are famous for comebacks. I mean, Nikhil, you need not look at the greatest comeback that ISRO has done. Maybe Carlsen can be tamed by Pragnananda in this case. So, It is a very, very superb situation. I mean, we need to be a bit sorry about it, but yeah, at this point, we are happy also that Magnus Carlsen defeated Pragnananda, big disappointment, but we are happy that at least Pragnananda is in the candidates. Now, why the candidates tournament is so important? Because all these, you'll have the top three, they'll qualify for the World, from the World Cup, they'll qualify for the candidates. Carlsen is not playing the candidates because of the format that is there. So Pragnananda has a chance. If he wins the candidates, he will then take on Jinglish in the final. So that is why in the final of the World Championships, maybe in 2024, Pragnananda versus Jinglish, India versus China, that is an even bigger rivalry if you look at it. So India versus China, it will be a great thing indeed. So I feel that Pragnananda, Alston Meneses is saying, I feel Pragnananda at this age of 18 has done amazing work. At this age, this is not easy. Alston, I mean, when an interview was conducted when he defeated Carlsen in this for the second time, he said, okay, the match ended at 2, but I have to get up at 8:45 and go to school. At that time, it summed up Pragnananda's insight. I mean, already at this age, he knows what his priorities are. He said, winning a chess tournament is far more practical than cracking a board exam. That is a very, very big statement that he has made. Winning a chess tournament is far more practical than cracking a board exam. So that is the situation. So King D, can chess players go mad? So much stress on the brain. I mean, chess is the ultimate stress factor is there on your mind, because remember, there is also, you have a blindfold. You also have blindfold chess also, remember. That's why doing that is a big, big thing. I mean, when you played blindfold chess at that time, there is a problem. People have tended to have vision issues, people have tended to have dementia, people have tended to have schizophrenia, all that. So that's why blindfold chess, that's why it was banned, because it's at least the ultimate leveler in that sense. If chess was in Olympics, Carlsen would have the most gold, do you think? But remember, Akash, chess has a separate Olympiad altogether. It's not part of the main Olympics. Such is the nature of the sport that probably you cannot have it in the main Olympics because of time, because of broadcast issues. But chess has a separate Olympiad, and because Carlsen has already been the world champion and because he's participated in other tournaments, he's not had the time to have gone to the Olympiad. But yes, at this time, the Olympiad, if it was done, then boy, I think Carlsen would have had a lot more gold medals in that sense. So yeah, I'm joined by Shane at this point. And
yes, chess fever is very much gripping everyone.
Oh, indeed. But yes, I am suddenly feeling so low on energy because there was so much hype around the fact that, okay, Carlsen would have been your number 5. He would have won it for the 6th or 7th time. He would have been the World Cup winner. A World Cup winner, by the way.
Because camera.
Yeah. The camera, you'll have to expand the frame a bit more.
All right.
Yeah, we are having a bit of a disco light issue at this point.
That's all right.
Okay. So yeah, for Shane and all, I think, how was the mood upstairs when Pragnananda?
It was, I mean, let's just say it was like someone had deflated a balloon.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people were expecting that he would at least take the game very deep. There was an expectation because we kept discussing how exactly is it that, you would, what are the various ways he would keep taking it deeper, what would be the rule, the coin toss, all of those kind of things. People were talking, and then for it to just end like that, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of told that Pragnananda's this World Cup loss is like the similar way how maybe Vishwanathan Anand lost to Anatoly Karpov in 98. So I will, to refresh everybody's mind and also to Shane, 1997 and 98 there was a tournament held in Groningen in the Netherlands. Anand had to play the entire field and top it so that he could challenge Karpov. Now, what was the main thing? Okay, just a simple question, Shane. Has the Indian cricket team played 30 ODIs in the space of 1 month?
No, not at all. That's never be possible.
That's what Anand had to do. Anand had to play 30 games in order to get to the final against Karpov. And how many games did Karpov had to play? 0.
Wow.
Came to Lausanne fresh when with total preparation. And then Anand, to his credit, came 3-4 days just before the game, had very little preparation time, and he held on for a draw in the classical, but then lost the 2 tiebreakers, the rapid. This wasn't just to add, you may say, red mirch powder to the wound. Karpov had the gall to say that, okay, Anand doesn't have the temperament for a big game.
Oh, that's after having played so many games.
Yes. And then Anand said, look, FIDE tried their damnedest to ensure I never became the world champion because I was brought to Lausanne on a coffin.
Yeah.
And Capo had the ultimate fun in that sense. So that is why, that was the way. I think Pragnananda, look what happened. You all know it. 3 tiebreakers he had to undergo. He beat world number 3, Hikaru Nakamura on tiebreakers. But Arjun Erigasi, which went to the 3+2 blitz final,
Yeah.
then had to beat Caruana in the semi-final. And I think that semi-final took a lot out of Pragnananda. I mean,
Obviously.
imagine you're playing so many tiebreakers, your mind, you just have a 1-day break. Carlsen already had a 1-day break because he beat Nijat Abaso quite convincingly. So I really pity Pragnananda. This was a similar situation that was there in 1997-98 when
In fact, to put in another similar parallel, I think a good parallel would be what happened with, say, the Croatia football team in 2018.
Oh, yes.
Remember, this is a Croatia team that didn't really have a proven goal scorer up front. They were a very resilient, gritty team, but they won a lot of their matches went to shootouts. So by the time they reached the final, really, they were cooked. And
3 shootouts, right?
yes. Out of
Denmark, Russia, and that's it, right? No, which was the other one? Denmark, Russia, Spain, Russia.
Yeah. They had at least 2 or 3 shootouts. So they came cooked because again, it's not just about the shootout. Preceding a shootout is 30 extra minutes, 15 minutes each. And that takes it out of you as an athlete. And that is why by the time they reached the final, they were cooked. You know, France were much fresher in that regard, and that showed on the day. In fact, you saw it even with Argentina in the 2022 final, the FIFA World Cup. They had a couple of games, they had one game rather that went to a shootout. France had no game go to a shootout, and they were much fresher. They could fight deeper, they had better squad depth, and this is the same thing which happened here, you can say, with even Pragg. He had 2 tie breaks, 3 tie breaks before, and it takes a toll.
As I had mentioned in the live previously, I mean, if I have to look at nothing demeaning about this, I mean, we all hail Pragnananda.
Yeah.
But Carlsen was like a cat who was keeping a half-dead mouse alive for entertainment. Because you could see Carlsen, the extra break day, because he was actually suffering from food poisoning.
It helped him a lot, I think.
It helped him a lot, plus those 2 classical games, because he knew that even Pragnananda was stressed. He had to take it to the tiebreakers one more day. Okay, my favorite, you're in my territory now, try and escape. And in the first game, unfortunately, Pragg's blunder ensured that, okay, that rook and the knight opening, unfortunately, that led to a huge problem. So, it's a sad way. But then, see, this can happen. A blunder can happen because Pragg just had 20 seconds on the clock.
And not just that, I mean, you have to remember that when it comes to experience here, and experience is something that really matters in big tournaments, Pragg is starting from 0.
Yeah, I mean, he did play in the previous World Cup, but then he was ranked 90th and he crashed out quite early. And remember, he's just 18.
Exactly.
Come on. How many people have gone to the Chess World Cup at the age of 18 and managed to win it? It would have been the ultimate fairy tale. I mean, we in India would have been celebrating it like as if it was Chandrayaan for all of us.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You beat world number 3, you beat world number 2. Imagine beating the world number 1, that too in rapid tiebreakers. Oh, that would have been the greatest feat since 1991 or 2000 or 7, 8, 10, 12. That would have, or even 2017 for that matter. So, do you agree that it was like facing like 2003 World Cup final? He was facing a wall, Akash Bharadwaj? No, I don't think so, because if you look at the 2003 World Cup, India exposed their mental vulnerability because, Australia, if we bat first, we may have a humiliation like century.
Like 125.
Yeah. We want to rather bowl first, right? Because they said, early conditions, we can get something. But 15 runs in the first over by Zaheer Khan, India never recovered.
Yeah.
I think Pragnananda I think he was drained. That Caruana match, I'm telling you, he was drained. And remember, even in the Erigasi tiebreakers, he made a lot of blunders. But a better opponent could have capitalized. Carlsen capitalized. And that is why he has completed total football. Total chess. World Cup winner, World Rapid Champion, then also World Championship, everything. Candidates he need not play because, okay, if I win the candidates, will I challenge myself? Like how Carlsen was trying to shake an imaginary ghost's hand. Okay, I will only play myself. Oh, that is Carlsen. I mean, this guy freaks me out, Magnus Carlsen. Akash Sinha, Magnusson online blitz once had a 3,500
That's
yellow rating.
mad.
That means he had a T20I average, after playing 100 T20Is by the way, he had an average of 200 with a strike rate of 300. 100 T20Is I'm talking about. 3,500 rating is never before charted territory in the history of the sport. 2,800 was like the mark. After 2,800, you can't. It's impossible. But this guy has won so many times. Oh, I mean, he's pushing the barriers. I think just like Bradman, some records can never be broken. I think Carlsen's records might never ever be broken.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people were underestimating or rather rooting for the underdog win without realizing that the big dog you were facing is perhaps the one who runs the yard. Magnus Carlsen is not some small name. He's probably, arguably, he's the greatest chess player of his generation, arguably of all time. That's a very,
Yeah, I mean, looking at the success, I mean, I would be tempted to rate my three greatest at this time. If I maybe 1, 2, 3. One is Carlsen, second is Kasparov, and third is Vishwanathan Anand. These are my top 3 greatest chess players of all time. I am not counting the likes of Alexander Alekhine, I am not counting Bobby Fischer, I am not counting Jose Raul Capablanca because I have never seen them play. Spassky, or also if you have to look at it, William Stiglitz, I have not seen them play. So that's why that era was different. This era, Kasparov, Anand, Carlsen, these 3 would be my ultimate players. Some athletes are freak. Magnus is one of them. I mean, who can you think of in the world of sport, other sports that you can say he's a freak of nature? For me, if you had to look at beyond chess, Usain Bolt in athletics.
Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, Leo Messi.
Yep.
These guys who defy logic when it comes to their sport.
What about a Michael Schumacher?
A Schumacher, you can arguably say,
Valentino Rossi, Lewis Hamilton.
Rossi, Hamilton, for that matter, gone too soon, but even a Senna. Someone who was prodigious.
Yep.
Similar.
So these are some freaks. I mean, maybe if I have to look at the original benchmark in athletics, maybe Carl Lewis.
If you're going motorsport, the original benchmark, then Juan Manuel Fangio. 5 world championships at a time when motorsport was ridiculously unsafe. You trust me when I say, nowadays people talk about the safety thing. Back then no one cared about safety. Back then it was all about how quick could the car go, and more importantly, at those times the circuits were also much longer. People don't realize that. So yes, that's the original benchmark.
Akash Bharadwaj and all are saying, what about the tennis players? Djokovic, Nadal.
Joko, yes. I think Joko. Federer probably not so much. Federer was an artist. But when you're talking about, and I'm a big Federer fan, Nadal, yes, and Djokovic, both.
Nadal and Djokovic.
Yeah, they have that otherworldly ability to just conjure things out of thin air. Yeah. For that matter, I see a lot of flashes of that even right now in. Yes. Akash, no, we didn't forget Phelps. We mentioned Phelps.
Just now, Joko, we did. Shane did mention Phelps.
Phelps has to be. That man was also freak. Not just because, by the way, he had the body for swimming, but because he also put in the yards.
I mean, I was scared. I was thinking, why is Phelps retiring? Is he mutating and going back into the sea? Because he was blessed with a body. I mean, there is a very good article on his body structure that
I remember.
Shoulder, his size, his feet size are such it is naturally
meant for swimming. Correct.
And boy, he used to consume 11,000 calories
a day. Just FYI, the prescribed amount of calories that an average human being should be having per day is 2K.
But that was because Phelps used to have a 6-hour swimming regime.
Exactly.
And remember, if you swim very, very prodigiously, you do have an appetite.
There is a lot of calorie burn in swimming.
Yeah, so yes. It's the ultimate fitness sport in that sense, along with table tennis and tennis.
Yeah. Even for that matter, badminton is shorter, but even badminton,
every body part aches.
Exactly.
Even football,
yeah, especially in today's day and age where you're tracking running miles more, because you are when it comes to running as a football player, it's not just your on the ball work, it's also off the ball. How much are you tracking back? How much are you pressing? So a footballer in a 90-minute game will be running on average around 9 to 10 kilometers.
Yep.
That is a lot of running.
Okay, Akash Bharadwaj. I mean, table tennis, there are so many Chinese, but the dragon dominates.
Ma Long.
I mean, the greatest ever. But in the women's, I would say much better Fan Zhendong. Fan Zhendong is an absolute beast when it comes to women's table tennis. And Ma Long. I mean, every Chinese player that you look at it, I mean, they have the Olympics and the Asiad have to have a quota. Such has been the dominance of Chinese.
Correct. It's been so insane that they had to put in quotas to ensure that not more than one particular athlete in one particular is allowed to even compete. It's just that bad. Because it used to be a case. So the gold medal match is being contested by 2 Chinese people, and the bronze match is also being contested by 2 Chinese, which means that China guaranteed 3 medals.
Exactly.
Just like that.
And all our hearts would sing. We are just praying, okay, we hope none of Satyan Gnanasekar or Sharat Kamal get a Chinese. And I think once my heart sang, I said, oh no.
He got Ma Long.
I said, oh goodness, why does God really want to punish them?
Ma Long, yeah. Ma Long is, again, very otherworldly. Good shout there, Akash.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at one viral video, which you remember there's one 6-year-old girl, I mean, she was crying. Then the focus that was there in trying to become the best in table tennis, Li Yi, I think that is the name of that girl. She was crying. The coach had absolutely no remorse. You want to be the best, you have to train. And boy, the returns that she made, the backhands, the forehands, the speed. Oh, those Chinese athletes are freaks. Do you follow NFL? No, King D. Unfortunately, I don't. Gunasagar and Ramanand. What about squash in terms of stamina? Not bad. I mean,
good shout. Very good shout.
I mean, the original GOATs, if I have to look at it in squash, were Jahangir and Jamsher Khan of Pakistan. Those two were the ultimate in that sense. So, in the list of freak athletes, maybe Pragnananda will come in the future. I mean, he still has another 5 to 10 years of greatness, I'm telling you. So, that is why I'm really proud.
For now, Magnus definitely is in that bracket. If you're looking purely in terms of like
they say, no, there is Messi and then there is the rest. Then in the chess world, there is Magnus
and then there's the rest. Correct.
So it is a big problem that chess has too big a dominance. So, Pragnananda has lost, but hey, at least broader picture, we are all happy that he's qualified for the Candidates 2024, which by the way will be held in Toronto. That brings to an end this Chess World Cup. And which age is Magnus Carlsen became famous, Sharan? I think he became famous at the age of 11.
Wow.
When he started doing chess tournaments on a regular basis in Europe, and believe it or not, he was also Vishy Anand's second in one of the championships. Yes. Carlsen has helped Anand win championships as one of his seconds. Seconds is a separate team who analyze the players and everything in that say. He analyzes, okay, you would have gone this move, you would have gone that move. There are about 5 to 6 players as seconds. It can be journalists, it can be former players, it can be current players. You just have to pay them a stipend and for that period of time, all their accommodation, everything you have to take care of. And then you win the title.
Amazing.
Alison Minister, can you compare Magnus Carlsen's dominance to Australian women cricket team dominance? No. Different. Carlsen is on a different level altogether. Women's team, yes, but cricket is a team sport. This is an individual sport. So, thank you so much, folks. This has been a very long live, and it's like Shane said, balloon has got to deflate.
Unfortunately, but look, we have to take nothing away whatsoever from Pragg. Great accomplishment for him.
At least
he's only going to get better.
Yep, he is in the candidates. That's all we want to know about. So, thank you so much, folks, for joining us. It's been a bittersweet day for Indian chess. Big loss to Carlsen, 2-0, 2-zip in the Rapids, but hey, he's at least in the tie break. So, thank you from me and Shane and Nikhil. It's been a great Chess World Cup for us. Bye-bye.